in Nigeria, the Nigerian police force has warned organizers of a planned nationwide protest scheduled for today, April 7th, to shelve the protest, describing it as ill-timed and mischievous. The police believe the protest is a deliberate attempt to tarnish their image and that of the nation, especially with international dignitaries present for the National Police Day celebration. Well, in a statement, the police advised the organizers to engage in dialogue with the government. I mean, Nigerians will say that's all young people have been doing, engaging in dialogue by posting, their complaints on social media, be it to, X or Facebook or whatever it is, whatever means there is. But now we're seeing some sort of, like Dr. Batia said, is there a time that will come in Nigeria where we're allowed to go out and protest in peace?
No, there's actually been a time like that. You know the time there was? It was under an administration of a man called Goodluck Jonathan that believed that people had the right to be able to protest. So he allowed them to protest, and in fact, they shut down the country for the first 10 days in the new year over fuel subsidy. But yesterday, I was watching that video all over again. All the people that spoke against fuel subsidy removal there today, they're all quiet. Where are the likes of Pastor Bakari? Where are the likes of Mr. Falana? Where are the likes of Femi Kuti and everybody that spoke against fuel subsidy removal then? They're all quiet. So there used to be a time where people actually were allowed to protest. And in fact, we celebrated that time. In fact, we all supported those that are there now because, they had the right to move around the street. But what do we have today? Anytime you come out and protest is repression. They infiltrate the protest and they say you caused the problem. They beat people up. They kill people during the protest. And that's not what should be the case. I'm hearing some unconfirmed report that there was a little skirmish between the police and some protesters in Rivers this morning, but I cannot independently confirm. It was just a message sent across like a newspaper clipping. But it speaks volumes. Please, the police force should not come and tell us stories and rhetoric. What you are supposed to do is to provide security for protesters. It is a fundamental human right, a right to be able to express yourself. And you don't even need to get a police permit. That was settled in the Supreme Court ruling. You remember what happened? Mm-hmm. President Buhari then was a candidate. He went to Kano, and there was a protest, and the people were hurt. People were tear-gassed. It was said that that event led to the death of Chuba Akadibu, who was his running mate. And they went all the way to court, went all the way to court with them, and they said you don't even need to get a permit. So there's a constitutional provision. Mm-hmm. But as regards Trump and Musk, I concur with Chimamanda. Oji, it will last forever. We will touch the green grass of home once again. The ray of sunlight, the golden ray of sunlight, will inundate our bodies once again, and we'll all be excited. Because I have never seen an hegemon last forever. Where is Hitler today? Where is McCarthy today? Where is Genghis Khan today? We can go on and on and on. They will come and they will go because that's the way of life. So it might look very bleak and dark today, but hegemons will not last forever. Oligarchy will not last forever, even if it takes a lot of years. Where is Ceausescu today? Where are those people? It didn't last. At some point, no matter how long it might look in people's eyes, it will not last. And this is Project 2025 playing out again by the Heritage Foundation. That's what Trump is doing. That's what he's leaving with his phony economists, not backed up by any facts. Because if it was backed up by facts, he will know that based on economic history, when McKinley in 1890 did his tariff, they lost in the midterm. Right. That's why Ted Cruz is telling them, watch it, you might have a big bloodbath in the midterm if you don't reverse all of this. Well, but this hegemony will not last forever.
All right, Rufai. We'll take another story now. The Nigerian Correctional Service, Bayelsa State Command, has refuted allegations of illegally detaining 15 former domestic staff of former First Lady Patient Jonathan at the Okaka Correctional Custodial Center since 2019. Reports claim the workers were detained over the alleged theft of valuables worth 200 million naira and face multiple charges, including conspiracy to commit murder and burglary. Well, in a statement on Sunday, the Custodial Center's spokesperson dismissed the claims as unfounded and aimed at tarnishing the service's image. The spokesperson emphasized that the inmates have been treated humanely and that their fundamental rights have been respected, adding that they were remanded with valid court warrants. Vimbai, I'm coming to you on this story. We've seen this story circulate on social media. I believe that the human rights organization Tech for Justice say that they have tried to secure the release of the defendants on bail, but their efforts have been unsuccessful. They say the Bayelsa State Judiciary is giving into pressure from influential individuals close to the former First Lady. While a legal associate of the group also mentioned that the matter has been adjourned over 40 times between 2019 and 2025. I mean, this is the sort of stories that we see. I mean, their case is not unique, I would say, because we have seen, stories unfolding whether or not, these people have been remanded in jail without trial or their cases have been moved from left to right. Some people spend years in detention without, having to go through their case. I'd like your assessment on this story.
It's all fair and fine to come up with a statement to say that they're being treated in a humane way and so forth, but we all know the conditions in our prisons at the moment, or rather custodial centers, detention centers. We know that the conditions there are not humane in any breath whatsoever. It's not, it hasn't been long since there was the entire controversy around Bobrisky and having to be held elsewhere as opposed to the actual detention center. And all of this corruption, at the end of the day, boils around the conditions that inmates are said to serve under. And they may be detained, even those who are convicted have rights too to be treated as basic human beings. Now, in this case, the human rights organization that is saying that they've tried to secure them bail and the bail is being opposed by, forces or pressures are very high up there is unfortunate. But also, these are very huge crimes. These are very huge crimes. So what we would advocate for is the speedy conclusion of the trial. They can't be held for 2019 to 2025, 6 years without a conclusion of the trial. And like you said, this is just one case.
Yes.
We need to look deeper into the judiciary. Thousands of cases outstanding. And yes, the judiciary does try to do their best to get through all of them. But we've often advocated for digitizing the process. We've advocated for so many other ways to try and just declog the system, because people who are not yet convicted are now suffering recurrently under these conditions. So very unfortunate to hear about this. Let them be tried. Let there be a conviction. Moving on for this very quickly, though, before we move on, let me touch on the police releasing the statement to say that the protest would tarnish their image as they host people during National Police Day, which I think is such an unfortunate wasted opportunity. Because what better show of the professionality of your police force could there be than to allow people to be out on the streets and to show the world that, guess what, Nigeria police force actually knows how to maintain law and order in situations where the masses are coming out to the streets to express exercising their freedom of expression. So the mindset already shows you that there is something wrong in the system.
Yes.
How could you say that a protest is a disgrace? There's nothing disgraceful. People protest about all manner of things all the time, and it shouldn't be used as a measure of their branding, if I may call it that. However, the measure of their professionalism, the branding of the police force, is their ability to respect people's rights and ensure that protests do not break down in any way.
Well said, by Dr. Abati. I wanted a quick comment on these aides that were detained. According to reports, some of the charges include jewelry theft, intent to commit murder, and all whatnot. I mean, what do you make of that?
Well, the right to own property is a constitutional right. And, whether it's movable property or immovable property. The Constitution of Nigeria does not say that any other person has the right to steal your property. Where there is theft or burglary, you have the right, whether you are high up or middle class or whatever, to seek redress through the law courts. I've given that preface because I see that some of the commentators are saying Dame Patience Jonathan has detained people. She has no powers to detain anybody, but she has rights under the law to report anybody who steals her things to the authorities. So, there are a lot of media commentary, bordering on sheer ignorance and mischief. Now, in this particular case, there was burglary, there was theft of her jewelry, television sets, sofa, and she reported to the police. And those persons were apprehended. The justice administration system has a process. If those persons are being in detention for the past 6 years, it is wrong, it is unjust, it is unfair to them.
Yes.
Because what is being done also is a violation of their rights under sections 35 and 36 of the 1999 Constitution, because they are entitled to fair trial. But we know in Nigeria that the wheel of justice grinds slowly. So the problem here is with the justice system. Nobody should be in detention for up to 6 years for any offense whatsoever, except it's extraordinary circumstances, maybe capital punishment, or there is a risk like even then 6 years. Yeah. It's a long time to be trying a matter involving theft and burglary.
Well said.
The Okaka Custodial Center Assistant Controller General, has said they are following due process. They were still in court in March, in April. Now, what is all this going back and forth? We're told that it's the prosecutors that are delaying. Justice delayed is justice denied.
Yes.
So the political imputation into the matter, I think, is wrong-headed.
Yes.
The NBA, we're told, has tried to intervene to talk to all the parties involved. The problem is with the judicial process.
Right.
The problem is with the justice administration system. The problem is not with Dame Patience Jonathan, who has every right under the Constitution to report where criminal actions have been taken against her property.
Well said. Well, the will of justice grinds slow. That's the takeaway from the story. We'll hope that we hear more from the Custodial Center. Well, we'll take another story now. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, has expressed his admiration for the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project, stating that it inspires thoughts of heaven. Umahi made the comment on the Arise Morning Show on Sunday as he provided updates on the project, mentioning that 30 kilometers of the 750 kilometers highway's first section will be ready for commissioning by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on May 25th, 2025. Let's take a look.
Where is Roof on Fire? I wanted to see Roof on Fire because he said I was in Independence Bridge. I saw them digging. I saw them with crocodile eye. How can they finish the work in 24 hours?
You did.
Well, that 30 kilometers is going to be ready by May 25th. And I was there and I was very, very happy. Honestly, and Oji, I would like you to go and drive from Albelo Way. When I was there, I was so excited. And I say, if the street of Coastal Highway can be this beautiful, how will the street of heaven, how beautiful will it look? And so it helps us to do more and better to make heaven. So it's a beautiful place, and I would like you to go there and see for yourself.
All right. Umahi here says that the Coastal Highway inspires. I mean, the conversation really started off with the fact that, he was able to fix the Independence Bridge in less than 72 hours. And he threw us under the bus, Rufai. He said, where is Rufai? I was like, okay, you did right. You did right. But before I come to you, in the same vein, a Lagos content creator, Edward Wonder, shared an update on the repair of the Independence Bridge over the weekend. Well, in this video, celebrating the beauty of Lagos. Let's take a look. Ibaje, my favorite word to say. I live in Lagos and I love the city of Lagos. I always say that. I saw that video. Kudos to that content creator. I mean, I didn't know Lagos was that beautiful. Rufy on fire. What are your thoughts on Umahi? Dave Umahi's comments on, fixing the Independence Bridge? I mean, I know that it was, he did it under 72 hours and it was a palliative measure. I think you're trying to find something.
Okay, sorry, I was trying to find my tweet, but empirically, on the day, a day after the first traffic situation happened, and please follow me chronologically, that was when I said that, what does the minister think he's doing? The bridge I passed Korokoro with my eye that I saw that was excavated. Yes, it was excavated. And as at the next day when he said they should open that road, they couldn't have opened the road because the place was still excavated. It was the next day Governor Sanwo-Olu got in there. So at first, he falls flat on his analogy by saying, no, we fixed it. No, you didn't fix it on the next day. You said you were going to open the road. It was a couple of hours down the line when people walked overnight. And the point Governor Sanwo-Olu was making was the fact that you will still come back to this problem. So it was a palliative by dumping and putting everything and just trying to get it passable. But 2 weeks time, you're still going to come there. Why don't we find the alternatives now and plan for the traffic situation rather than just making this, and you will still break it when you come back, which is an added cost, which is not wise spending. So my very good friend and my lovely minister can call my name and say I should go and pass it. I don't need to pass it. The truth is, as at the time he said the door was open, the bridge was open, it wasn't open then. He had fixed it, they worked overnight. And that bridge might still be excavated to be able to do the job. So he's spending more money. Secondly, he said, what's it called? The Lekki to the Coastal Road is like a stairway to heaven, or it's like a heavenly inspiration and everything. Good. I like that. I'm happy about it. Oh, lovely road. Lovely road. Can you also tell me more about people that they pay paltry compensations after their livelihood was destroyed for this coastal road? Can you also tell me more about those people? What about those that are still dragging here and there? Would those people too also say that this has been an heavenly experience for them? If you can tell me more about the people, take for instance, I'll give you an instance, that invested over 6 or 7 billion, one of those, what's they call hubs around close to the beach area. And when they destroyed, they paid them nothing less than 200 million after close to 8 billion investment. So will you say it's a heavenly experience for some? Do you know that some people that they've been put in penury forever because of this? Some of his advisors have been saying, yes, we must make sacrifices, but I'm just saying is justice must be done.
Yeah.
The fact that people expended money, they're paying paltry sums, and the next thing, a lot of people felt that this was also political in the way they delineated the route to shave off some people and to go against some people. That's just all I'm just calling is it also a heavily experienced that we have to cry on our lungs before they give us the environmental impact assessment?
All right.
So those are the questions we still ask him.
Okay.
Now, when the road is done, we'll celebrate and all of that.
Right.
But we must not also forget the justice that needs to be done. Vibai, let me quote you this morning. Many truths can exist at the same time. Are you alive?
Yes, it's true.
Okay, I'd like everyone's assessment really quickly in 2 minutes,
Very quickly,
please.
what
Less
got
than
my
2 minutes.
attention, wonderful interview, by
Yes,
the way.
thank you.
What got my attention was the issue of the controller, who seemed to have been thrown under the bus
Yes.
in all of this. The minister saying that he was not aware that the bridge would be closed. The governor also saying he wasn't aware that the controller felt that the damage was going to lead to loss of life and so forth. How do we get to a stage where we allow damage to get that bad?
Yeah.
And then we now have to operate on a knee-jerk reaction and disrupt everything. They say, yes, she was suspended, but she has been recalled and reinstated. No problem. They called it an honest mistake, I believe. However, these are very costly honest mistakes. It's all fair and fine for them to say, oh, honest mistake, and move on. But there are some people who can't recoup what they lost on that day. And we should not allow our infrastructure to get to the point that it is so dilapidated that it's emergency work that we need to do in order to restore it. And lastly, Oji, this palliative work they did, they've proven to us that it can be done in 72
Yes,
hours.
in
So we do
72
not
hours.
expect any bridge closures for 3 weeks, 1 month, whatever it is. No. They've now shown that they can actually work at a very efficient pace. So I look forward to further repairs being done in a speedy way, work being done overnight, so that regular citizens, commuters, children going to school are not impacted by the inconvenience of our inability to audit the condition of our infrastructure and act in a preventative way rather than after the fact in a reactive knee-jerk way.
Well said, Vimbai. Dr. Abati, you only have a minute or less.
While the swift response by both the Minister of Works and the Governor of Lagos to the public outcry that attended the sudden closure of that Independence Bridge, while it's commendable, the point to be made is that we should not wait till last minute, till infrastructure collapses or
Well
is
said.
about to collapse before we intervene. This is what happens most of the time. We wait till the last minute before we do anything in Nigeria. That should be the lesson,
Well
the
said.
major takeaway. Finally, the minister says that the Coastal Highway, 4 legacy projects in the 6 geopolitical zones, when he was using the phrase, it's like going to heaven. I think he meant to say, oh, very
That is
beautiful,
beautiful,
what they have
of
done.
course,
But
yes.
this is a very religious country. The minister should refrain from telling people if you go on that Coastal Highway, it's like going to heaven. In a religious country where people want to go to heaven.
It's a great way of marketing it now.
Well, no. When that Coastal Highway is open, people should not say, oh, if I go on this road, let me end up in heaven.
You're absolutely
And they will drive
right.
recklessly.
Well, all right.
Because these religious people, they may believe him and think really it's the road to heaven.
Well said, Dr. Abati. Shall we take our picture of the day? And it's that of Nigeria. Nigeria's former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, and his grandchildren. The picture was shared on his official X handle over the weekend with the caption, "It was a wonderful time with my grandchildren who came on a post-Salah visit. The joy is indescribable. Alhamdulillah." Hey, I love this picture. I mean, how many children did you count there? They were like almost like 15. I mean, this is the blessing of real. Why are you? I don't understand.
I mean,
I can count it so beautiful.
Yes. That this country has a national population policy.
Oh, really?
Look
How
at
many?
what you-
Wait, hold on. I mean, it just shows that, you know,
I'm sorry,
you're allowed to.
you have a lot of double standards.
A lot of-
You have a lot of double standards. You know, you are the one that used to argue here. You don't
He's
count,
advocating
you don't
for-
count a man's children
advocating
them.
for-
You don't count a man's
I've
children.
not counted.
Yeah, so why are you talking national population policy? What's your own?
All right.
You're the one that said we don't count
All right, I love
our
the
children.
picture, though.
Grandchildren.
All right. They are the
I don't like
exactly
that.
grandchildren.
I don't like that.
Well,
Okay.
kudos
Don't
to
do this,
Adama.
please.
Waziri, what do you call him? Waziri.
Waziri Adama.
Waziri Adama. Kudos. I love the picture of your
When you put this many children,
grandchildren.
they'll keep multiplying.
No, but what's your own?
Let's
Off your
take-
mic.
All right, shall we take our good news report now? Number 5. In Osun State, highlighting the newly commissioned Nike Art Gallery, the governor of the state, Ademola Adeleke, during the commissioning ceremony, honored the gallery founder, Adenike Ogundaye, as the Queen of Adire, recognizing her impact on promoting the Adire textile, both globally and locally. He also recognized Adenike as a symbol of cultural innovation.